Hello everyone, and welcome back. Today, we're diving into a survival thriller that will make your palms sweat just by watching. This is the story of Fall. The movie begins with a chilling scene. Three climbers, Becky, her husband Dan, and her best friend Hunter, are scaling a sheer rock face. Everything seems fine until a bird flushes out of a crevice. Startling Dan, he loses his grip and, in a heartbreaking moment, falls to his death right in front of Becky. Fast forward 51 weeks. Becky is a shell of her former self, drowning her grief in alcohol and shutting out her father, James. She's stuck in a cycle of pain until Hunter, now a daring social media influencer, shows up at her door with a crazy proposition to conquer her fear and scatter Dan's ashes. They're going to climb the abandoned BLOT-TV tower, a 10-foot-tall needle of rusted steel in the middle of the desert. Part 2, The Ascent into the Sky. The two women arrive at the tower. It's a terrifying sight, 2,000 feet of old rickety metal. Hunter is excited, filming everything for her followers, while Becky is hesitant. They start the climb. As they go higher, the ladder begins to groan, and we see screws literally popping out of the rusted frame. Despite the danger, they reach the tiny platform at the very top. They take risky photos, dangling over the edge for the likes, but the celebration is short-lived. As they prepare to descend, the entire ladder collapses. The sound of metal screaming against metal fills the air as the only path down falls to the ground. Becky nearly falls with it, but Hunter catches her. Now they're stranded on a circular platform no bigger than a hula hoop, 2,000 feet in the air, with no way down. Part 3, The First Night and Failed Signals. Panic sets in immediately. They check their phones. No signal. Hunter tries to drop her phone in a shoe padded with her bra, hoping a rescue message will send once it hits the ground. They wait for hours, watching the desert floor, but no help comes. They find a small toolbox on the platform containing binoculars and a flare gun. Through the binoculars, they spot a man with a truck nearby. They scream, they wave, they even throw Becky's shoes down to get his attention. The man eventually notices them, but instead of calling for help, he steals their parked car and drives away, leaving them completely abandoned. Night falls and the cold desert wind begins to bite. By the second day, dehydration is becoming a deadly threat. Their backpack, containing water and a drone, is stuck on a communications dish about 50 feet below them. Hunter, being the more athletic one, decides to climb down on a rope to retrieve it. The scene is heart-stopping. Hunter dangles in the open air, swinging precariously to reach the bag. After a terrifying struggle where she almost loses her grip, she manages to get the backpack and climb back up, or so it seems. They finally have water and the drone, their last hope for survival. Chapter 4.1, The Battle with the Vultures. While Hunter is dangling below, the first real predators appear. Not from the ground, but from the sky. Large shadows begin to circle the top of the tower. These are vultures, nature's scavengers, and they can smell the exhaustion and the blood on the girl's hands. One of the birds lands on the small platform and begins to hiss at Becky. Becky, already paralyzed by her fear of heights, now has to fight off a physical attacker. She uses her remaining shoe to swat at the bird, but it's a terrifying reminder that they are no longer at the top of the food chain. This struggle happens while Hunter is literally fighting for her life 50 feet below, unable to help. The logic of the desert is clear. If you stay still for too long, the desert starts to eat you. This sequence adds a layer of primal horror to their mechanical nightmare. Chapter 4.2, The Deceptive Hope of the Flare Gun. Once Hunter is back on the platform with the backpack, they find the flare gun. They decide to wait until nightfall to use it, hoping the bright light will be seen for miles. As the sun sets, the desert turns into a beautiful but deadly ocean of darkness. They see the headlights of a vehicle in the distance. The man in the truck is returning. They fire the first flare. It arcs beautifully into the night sky, a brilliant red streak of hope. The man stops his truck. He looks up. For a few seconds, the girls are screaming and hugging each other, certain that rescue is minutes away. But the archive of human cruelty strikes again. Instead of helping, the man realizes their truck is unguarded. He smashes the window, hotwires the engine, and steals their only way home. They watch their own headlights disappear into the horizon, leaving them in total silence. This moment is the true breaking point for their morale. Chapter 4.3, Technical Desperation. The Lightning Rod. With the truck gone, Their only hope is the drone inside the backpack. But there's a major problem. The drone is out of charge. Hunter notices the aviation warning light at the very top of the tower, the red light that flashes to warn airplanes. She realizes that the socket for that light must have power. Becky, who has been the timid one, realizes she has to be the one to climb the final 20 feet. This isn't a ladder. It's a smooth, thin lightning rod with only small pegs for footings. The wind at 2,000 feet is constant and buffeting. One wrong move, and she'll be blown off like a leaf. She has to carry the heavy drone battery in her pocket while using both hands to grip the vibrating pole. This scene shows Becky's transformation from a victim of grief into a warrior for survival. The logic of her fear is replaced by the logic of pure adrenaline. Chapter 4.4. The hallucination begins to blur. After the grueling climb to charge the drone, the mental strain starts to take a heavy toll. Becky begins to notice strange things about Hunter. Hunter stops complaining about her injuries. She stops drinking the limited water they have. She seems almost too calm. Becky's mind, unable to process the trauma of being alone, starts to create a deceptive reality. She has long conversations with Hunter about their past, about Dan, and about a secret Hunter has been keeping. Hunter confesses she had an affair with Dan before he died. In a normal world, this would lead to a huge fight. But at 2,000 feet, it feels hollow. Becky is arguing with a ghost, and the audience starts to see the subtle signs, the flies buzzing around Hunter, the way the light passes through her. The psychological archive of their friendship is the only thing keeping Becky from falling into a catatonic state. Part 5. The drone and the final shot. They try to use the drone to fly a message to a nearby motel, but the drone's battery is low. In a desperate move, Becky has to climb even higher to the very tip of the tower's lightning rod to use the signal light socket to charge the drone. Once charged, they send the drone toward the motel. They watch the screen as it gets closer and closer to safety. But just as it reaches the road, a truck speeds by and smashes the drone into pieces. All hope seems lost. Becky is truly alone. A vulture attacks her, pecking at a wound on her leg. In a burst of survival instinct, she kills the bird and eats it raw to regain her strength. She knows what she has to do now. She climbs down to the dish where Hunter's body lies. Part 7. The final gamble and rescue. Becky types a final text to her father to ensure the phone survives the 2,000-foot drop and stays within a signal range long enough to send. She places the phone inside Hunter's shoe and stuffs it into the open wound in Hunter's body. She pushes her friend's body off the tower. The plan works. The message sends as the body hits the ground. Hours later, her father James arrives at the base of the tower with emergency crews. Becky is airlifted off the platform, battered and broken, but alive. She reunites with her father in a tearful embrace, finally having conquered the tower of her grief, though at a terrible cost. And that is the ending of Fall, a story about the will to live and the heights we go to for the people we love and the mistakes we make along the way. If this recap kept you on the edge of your seat, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more survival movie breakdowns. Would you ever climb a tower like that? Let me know in the comments. Until next time, stay safe and keep your feet on the ground. Goodbye.